Welcome, I'm Homero Galicia. We have a good discussion with entrepreneurs who built successful businesses to learn from them their story, their challenges, their victories, their journey. Thanks for joining us on today's journey. Our special guest with us is Monica Moreno, the president of the Job Connection. Thank you for being with us, Monica.
Thank you for inviting. I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's a thrill for us. So the Job Connection, what is that?
The Job Connection is a locally owned staffing service. We've been in business for 29 years as a staffing company, and since 2001 as the Job Connection.
You changed your name in 2001.
We did.
What were you before that?
We were TRC Staffing, which was a franchise.
And how long were you a franchise?
10 years.
And so you started on your own. You broke away from the franchise?
We did. So my parents actually, my mom and stepdad started the franchise, which they owned from 1990 to 2000, and I joined them in 1994. Once we sold the franchise, we waited out a one-year non-compete and came back in 2001.
Why did your mother start the business?
Actually, my stepdad had taken early retirement from Wells Fargo, and so they just wanted something to do, and it was between a Dairy Queen or a staffing company, and they chose a staffing company.
And what was your stepdad's name?
Alex Berta.
And so they got into the business and they liked it?
Yes, we loved it. Thank God. We were very fortunate. They struggled for about the first 3 years, so my youngest sister actually joined them in the business, and she stayed from 90 till about 94. When she went out, then I came in. So. And
your mother's name?
Velia Berta.
And so what did she do before the business? She
was in banking also. So yes, I kind of followed their path, I think, all over the place, because I was in banking as well at a young age.
And where is your mother from?
My mom was born in La Mesa, New Mexico, and grew up in Alamogordo, but moved to El Paso when she was 18.
And your family, where's the rest of your...
So my dad's side of the family is from Alpine, Texas, where we grew up, spending quite a bit of summers and Christmases there. And had a good time.
And your dad? What about your dad?
My dad was a school teacher at Lamar Elementary.
Really? Mm-hmm. For how long?
Gosh, I'm not really sure how long. He passed away when he was young. He was 39 of a heart attack.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I'm going to say maybe 12 years as a teacher, probably.
Wow.
So.
Wow. I went to the old Lamar, in the old Moorhead.
Oh, wow.
So, but Alpine, that's interesting. So you spent time in Alpine and in La Mesa and Alamogordo?
Not really La Mesa at all.
Okay.
It was more Alpine, up until the time my dad passed away. And then after that, I probably stayed away for a few years, but we had a close cousin there, and my middle sister would go all the time, and finally we
So how many of you are there?
There were 4 of us. Now there are just 2 of us. So I lost a brother when he was 33, and then my sister when she was 41, the middle sister,
Really?
cancer.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just 2 of you now?
Just 2 of us now, yes.
Wow. And your sister, what does she do?
She's a registered nurse, and so she's been working in hospitals, doctor's offices, but she just joined us this year, actually, to open a medical billing service.
Oh. Out of your company?
Out of our company. So.
And so you've been president of the company for how long?
Since 2001.
And you have children?
I have a daughter.
And what does she do?
She works for a company called Auto Alert. So she's been in the car industry for 10 years now. Very successful. She lives in Dallas. She's my pride and joy.
That's neat, yeah. And you went to high school here?
I went to Irvin High School in the Northeast.
And then after that?
I didn't. I just worked for a long time. I was one of those people that thought they didn't need a formal education. So But the turning point for me there is I saw my mom graduate with her bachelor's degree when she was 41, and I remember thinking, wow, what a proud moment. So from there I thought, well, I'm going to try it. And I was 26 by this point, and I thought, well, I'm going to try it. If I like it, I'll keep going. And if I don't, well, I can say I tried it, but thankfully I did love it. So.
And where'd you start?
I started at EPCC, which is the best place to start, actually. It's true.
That's good. That worked for you.
Yes.
And what did you get your degree in?
I completed my bachelor's degree in human resources in 1996, and then I continued on for a general MBA, which I completed in 1999, both from UTEP.
Did you go right through the college? And did you finish in 4 years? Wow.
Well, no, I was actually probably on the 10-year plan by the time I finished everything. So I would work 8 to 5, and then I would go to school at EPCC until, on the mini-mesters until, 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Thursday. And my mom and stepdad, really raised my daughter as I was gone.
So, and what kind of work did you do while you were doing all of that?
I worked at the gas company.
Really?
Yeah.
And so you come into the business at what stage of your life?
I was 26, so no, I was 29 by that time. So I got to a point where I couldn't take any more classes at night. And I had to start going during the day. And so I left my job at the gas company and I joined the family business and went to school full-time and then worked part-time, which was the best life.
And so you came in, it was still a franchise.
Yes.
Was that hard work?
It wasn't hard work. It was fun work. I don't think we really knew what we were doing. Well, we did, and we were good, but we didn't really realize how good we were. So it was a lot of fun.
What was the work? What was it that you were doing then as a business?
Placing people in jobs, connecting people with employers here in El Paso.
Get them full-time jobs?
Full-time jobs, yes. So they would start out either temp to hire, direct hire, and then we would just try to make the best fit for the company and the person looking for a job, which is what we do.
So what do you call that industry?
Staffing.
Staffing.
Or temporary staffing.
So is that, so you hire temp to convert to full-time? Is that what it is?
Yes, depending on the company needs. Sometimes they only have a project that they need to fill. Sometimes people just are available for the summer or, have different needs. So it really we try to look at their long-term goals and try to make the best fit for both sides of the equation.
And so when do people work, do you pay those employees or are they hired by the company?
We pay the employees.
Okay, so they're your employees.
They're my employees, yes.
So at this point, how many employees do you have?
We've got about 250 right at this point.
And in your immediate office building, how many staff? There's
11 in the office, and then we have 2 on-site supervisors.
Now you just, you're located on Hawkins, you just bought a building.
We did.
A nice building.
A very nice building.
Right there off of, what is that, off of Viscount.
Hawkins and Viscount.
And why did you buy a building?
Well, so we hired a director of operations, and I think typically we're very, very conservative and, probably afraid to take some risks. But once we hired him on, we looked at the numbers. He was like, we can do this, So the timing was perfect. Had we, you look at paying lease for 27 years. After we bought the building, it was like all that money wasted. We could have already owned something by then. But had we done it sooner, we wouldn't have gotten the building. It wouldn't have been available to us. So.
Of course, you've grown over the years.
Yes.
And you've seen that growth.
Yes.
So what was it like to, I guess, to work for the franchise, and then you decided to let that go?
Yeah, so it was part of the recession, 1998, 99, things started going down compared to where they had been. So my stepdad tried to renegotiate the split with the franchise, and they didn't want to. So that kind of became like a divorce, you could say, because it just hurts to dissolve the partnership at that point. So
the franchise was like a partnership?
Yeah, well, they would get the split of whatever we did. So yeah.
Like a split, like a big split?
A big split, yeah.
So that was a franchise, you're splitting, but you're splitting the profit, not your costs.
Right. The cost is all on us. Yeah, just we're splitting.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was tough.
But you were successful.
Yes, we were. We were.
It took a while.
We were the #1 branch out of 80. Really? So, and we broke records that they had not seen. And they, when they sold my mom and stepdad the business, they didn't think they'd make it. They thought, well, they'll be out in 6 months. So, of course, they admit that many years later when they were winning awards.
Wow. So what did you learn from your mom?
Hard work. So my mom has a very good work ethic. She raised, my dad passed away when he was 39, so she had 4 kids to raise. She was always working very hard at the bank. She was good with her money. Just dedication.
And your father, what did you learn from your father?
My dad, my
Yes.
stepdad,
Your dad.
my dad. Well, he was a hard worker, a
School
good,
teacher.
honorable school teacher, and really teachers can make all the difference in a kid's life. So,
And what was his name?
Alfredo Moreno.
And what did you learn from your stepdad?
My stepdad, so of course I had more exposure to him, as an older, 21-year-old. So he knew the value of hard work, having fun, being good to people, and just always doing the fair thing for everybody all the way around.
So you let go of the franchise. You have to wait out a year
Mm-hmm.
for a non-compete,
Yes.
and you start the Job Connection.
Yes.
Why did you name it the Job Connection?
No real reason. We were just thinking of names. My mom and stepdad came up with the name. My mom came up with the logo that she drew on a napkin, and the printers, A and B labels, took it from there. Another
Yeah.
El Paso family business.
And when you started the business, then you took another role.
Yes, that's when I became president of the company and part owner.
So you start the business now as an independent business, and you're president.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first challenge?
Getting all my customers back. So
Okay, that's right,
Yeah.
because you had to let them go for a while.
yes, we sure did.
Ooh,
And then
what was that like?
We were very successful in getting all but one of them back. So
Really?
yeah, we were very blessed.
How did you do that?
You just keep the relationships. I think a mistake a lot of people make is they tend to get out of whatever they're doing and they just stop communicating with the people that were good to them. So you just.
So during that year hiatus, did you keep in touch with your customers?
Not really like on a regular basis, just hello. That was it.
But you
So-
had the intention of getting back into business
Yes,
when you
we
let go for a
did.
year.
Yeah.
So what did you do in that interim? Or did you study things or research? Or?
There was me, my mom. There was actually 4 of us that we opened up a small private security business where we did background checks for a year. We rented a small place on Hawkins also, and just worked out of that building for a year. Really not doing very much.
But you kept a business going together.
Yes, we did.
And so now when you start the Job Connection and you get your customers back,
Mm-hmm.
then what kind of challenges did that bring?
Well, is just really trying to grow the business again to levels that, in the mid-90s, we didn't see that growth that we had in the past. So that was, I think, the hardest thing is, being up here at a high level of business that was just naturally occurring in the mid-90s, and it was just a different way. And then 9/11 had just happened when we opened. So it was like, oh my gosh, what do we do? But no, you just have to keep moving forward. You
What
can't
is it?
stop.
What does it mean to move forward? To keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward. Just keep pushing along and doing the best you can every day. So
Why is it discouraging?
I think you could be discouraged. So I always just try to keep myself motivated and not get discouraged.
How do you do that?
I attend different seminars. I listen to different motivational speakers. Tony Robbins is one of my favorites, but there are several out there that I listen to.
And what does that do for you?
Just makes me happy. It keeps me energized.
Why is that important in building a business?
I think you need the energy so that people are wanting to do business with you, instead of just kind of moping along. You know, you want to raise your energy and try to.
So are you the main relation with your business? Do you go out and meet with the customers yourself?
Yes.
What is it to keep customer relations?
Trying to deliver, you know, we are in staffing, it's many things out of our control as far as people actually showing up to the job sometimes, you know, and I think that was the hardest thing when I started in this business, because people would say, I really need a job, you know, and you'd get them one and then they wouldn't show up. So that, you know, I thought I will be mad every single day of my life, you know, so I just had to kind of let it roll off.
Is that one of the challenges of the industry?
It is.
But it's always been there. It's not something new?
It's always been there, yes. Always for staffing, and I think now these days with unemployment so low, it's something that the employers now are feeling themselves. They think, well, I'll just hire by myself. And then it happens to them, and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, I get it.
Do you focus on particular industries?
We focus primarily on administrative, clerical, call center work is about 75% of our business, and then about 25% is warehouse and other.
And are you expanding or growing into other areas?
Not so much other areas itself, is more location. We'll be opening a new location in 2 weeks, so on the west side of town.
Why do you need another location?
Growth. Definitely there's a need for staffing out on the west side of town, and it's hard to support it from the east side, especially with construction. Nobody wants to drive.
So you have to be close to your clients?
Clients, and yes, on the employers that need people, and then the people looking for jobs as well.
Why does a client, why does an employer choose you?
I think we offer a fair price, a good service. We're always honest with our customers, and we do take it very personally because we want to grow, we want to succeed, and we don't want to let them down.
So what's the advantage of using your service?
The advantage of using our service is that they don't have to spend a lot of time recruiting, because that is a full-time job in itself, and we can do all the computer testing, pre-screening, and then finalize the list, and then they can select from there. So they're still a very important part of the process.
So you do the upfront work?
Yes, yes.
And the employer just can select from that?
Right. They give us the criteria that they're looking for as far as computer skills, experience, language skills if they need any, and then go from there.
And what's the advantage to the person looking for a job to go to you?
Well, because we know of some doors that they may not know of. So, and then they're one person trying each door, where if they come to us, there may be 50 doors available to them, you know, that they weren't even aware of.
So somebody comes to you, the turnaround can be pretty short?
Can be. Timing is everything. You know, timing is everything. Sometimes it's very short, sometimes it's very long, or sometimes it's not at all.
So let me ask you, because you went on and got an MBA.
Yes.
In what field?
Business, general MBA.
General. No.
Mm-hmm.
Did that help you in dealing with business issues?
I think anything you learn definitely helps you. And for me, I didn't need it because I was already in the family business, but it was just something personal for me to do, and I think it did help me.
In terms of skills and?
Skill level, connections. I think networking is so important in everything that you do.
And your mother still works the
She
business?
does.
What does
yes,
she do now?
Every day. She watches our money. She keeps a close eye on it.
Now, you were just awarded, you won an award of distinction in the state of Texas.
Yes.
What was that award?
So that was awarded by TAMAC, which stands for the Texas Association of Mexican American Chambers of Commerce. So basically all the Hispanic chambers are part of that. And they look through the state of, this particular award was through the state of Texas. They select 12 women in different fields. And Hispanic women, they feel, contribute to society in different ways, whether it be through business, social, learning, different things. So.
And you were selected for business.
Yes. For
well, congratulations.
business.
That's
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you.
And did that do anything for you?
Yes, lots of exposure.
Oh, that's good. Can't
I
say
am
no.
very thankful to the Hispanic Chamber for nominating me, our local Hispanic Chamber, Cindy
So
Ramos
are
Davis.
you're involved with the Hispanic Chamber?
I am. I just became a board member in February.
And you've been a member for a long time?
I've been a member of the Hispanic Chamber on and off, and then a board member just this year.
And what does that do for your business?
I think it keeps you connected to what's happening within our El Paso community, business-wise, definitely business-wise, especially for Hispanic women that are trying to grow their business, entrepreneurs that need different sources of money, of certifications. They do a really good job.
And for you specifically, anything?
For me specifically on the Hispanic Chamber, it's the networking, it's the learning of everything that's available to people, because I do try to help if I can, whether, knowledge, pointing, people in different directions to things that they need to grow their business.
You get involved in helping others.
Yes.
But you're involved in other organizations as well.
Yes. Members of, a member of Rotary Club of El Paso. What else?
What is that? Why are you involved? What does that do?
It's just a way of giving back to the community that has given so much to me.
So what has this community given to you?
It's given me the learning, it's given me the opportunities. There's a lot of organizations out there that are ready and willing to help people. You just need to apply yourself and go find them and apply yourself.
Did you ever think you would be president of a business?
Never.
What was your dream?
My dream when I was growing up, I thought I would be a court reporter, and then I wanted to follow my stepdad's example, and I thought, well, I'll be an accountant. But I remember just going home and crying after every test. I thought, what am I doing to myself, So, but business has always interested me.
So what is your chief characteristic that really helps you in your business?
I think it's developing relationships.
What does that mean?
That means having a big network of people, helping people get what they want in terms of business, or helping them grow their business or get their word out. And I have so many people, I call them angels, that just kind of, put in a good word for me, to get onto the Hispanic Chamber Board. Borderplex Alliance is another organization I'm part of. So
what about your team? How big is your key team?
Our key team in the office, there's 11 of us, and then we have two on-site supervisors. So Ralph Aguilera, who is one of our on-site supervisors, he's been with us since 1995. I joined in 94, he joined in 95, and he and I used to work together at the gas company. So yeah, he still works with us today, so it's amazing.
So you don't have a lot of turnover in that regard. So, what's it like building a business?
It's fun, it's exciting, something new every day.
Do you run into sometimes issues that are scary?
Yes, I think with any business, there's a side of it that can be,
In your case, what kind of?
Well, it could be, for example, let's just say a financial issue. Let's say somebody has a big balance and they're not paying their bill, so, maybe sometimes, for example, there was one client that had actually filed bankruptcy, and at that time they owed us, I don't know, $90,000, and I thought, oh my God, what's this going to do to us if they don't pay? But thank God it was a reorganization, so they actually paid better after that. But there are the other examples where, it could turn out bad, but thankfully, God has watched over us.
What do you do if somebody declares bankruptcy like that?
Well, you would just have to, you would take your loss, you would take your loss, whatever that is,
What is it, So the option, I mean, the idea that that could happen to you must have scared you for some months?
Yes. Yeah, because you get the letter and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen here?
So you had to start preparing for something? What did you start doing?
Well, I mean, you just have to wait and see how everything plays out, and then of course looking at your balances at that point in time and see what's the worst case scenario that could happen, should they not, in that example, if they had not paid their bill.
So you made plans in case?
Yes, you always have, your reserves, you don't ever want to use them for bad debt, but you've got to have them.
So you build up reserves.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that important?
It's important to keep the cash flow going for, in a scenario like that. Let's just say there's a new business that comes your way. You want to be able to support it.
So you need capital.
For staffing, it's very capital intensive.
Oh, because you're paying the employees.
Yes, taxes and everything.
So you pay the employees that you hire before your client pays you. So you have to carry that load.
That's right.
For 30 days, 60 days?
Yeah, depending on the client. So, yeah.
Wow. So you have to have a good set of reserve.
Yes.
You have to access but your mother and stepdad were in banking, so they understand that.
Yes, and then lines of credit, different ways of getting things done that you need.
So is your mother an accountant?
No, she's not.
But she handles the accounting.
Well, we have an accountant, but she knows what's coming in and out of that account at any given moment. So.
And she's looking for capital when you see some growth coming.
Yes, exactly.
So is growth an issue? Is growth a challenge?
Yes, because you always. I mean, I want to grow. I'm not anywhere near where I want us to be. And we just decided this year, we're going to work hard for 10 years and we're just going to crank it out and put in everything that we've got and see,
Well, so the Job Connection is a staffing agency.
It is.
What really does a staffing agency do?
So a staffing agency helps connect people that are looking for work for companies that are looking for people to join. So company.
That's why you call it the job connection, because you connect.
We connect people and employers.
And as we've been talking, you've been president of the company since 2001. And your mother started the business, and
my stepdad.
Your stepdad, and they had a franchise.
Yes.
For 10 years, and then you took a break for a year, and then you came on, started a new business. So you've been president of the Job Connection from its onset.
Yes, that is correct.
So you built the business. You had another business before, but this one you're building.
Right.
So where are you now, and where do you want to be in terms of your business size?
In terms of business size, I would love to be, 5 times the size we are now, and it's how do we get there, faster than the prior 19 years.
So what is that? When you say 5 times, is that something arbitrary? You've been thinking about that?
No, we've been thinking about it, and just put in a goal for this. We started this year and we decided, it takes a lot of hard work. So there's either, a work-life balance, but we thought, no, for the next 10 years we're going to work really hard, and maybe our personal side of our life is going to, kind of be on hold a little bit, or not on hold, but not as balanced, if you will. It's going to be more work than it will be personal.
So you have a 10-year time frame that you want.
Yes.
But you're being a president of a business as a woman, is there anything significant about it? I mean, there's not too many presidents of organizations that are women.
Yes.
Does it pose any challenge?
No, not in this business. It doesn't. It's actually the staffing industry is primarily, I think, female, but not in this business. It doesn't pose a challenge. There are just women-specific issues, as far as maybe, access to capital, certifications, different things. But then on the other hand, those things can help you if you are a woman and if you are Hispanic.
Has access to capital been an issue for you?
Thank God, no. We've been fortunate that the banking relationships that we had were able to get us through on lines of credit if we need it, saving money for future growth of the business is very important as well.
So how do you, is saving part of your business plan?
Yes, it is. Yes, since it's a very capital-intensive business as far as paying employees out beforehand, paying your taxes on time, all those things are very important for the continuation of your business, even in staffing.
So give me a scenario. You take on a new client. Give me an example of a client and what the client's needs are and what you do for them.
Okay. Well, let's just say a client needs clerical positions, so they would basically give us, it depends on their industry. Do they want industry-specific experience, or is it just somebody that's good with computers and has a steady work history?
And then what do you do?
Basically, we recruit, we advertise for the positions, we recruit, they come in to apply, we do the computer testing, and then we present the resume with the scores to our employers.
And so the employer says, okay, we like this person, then what's the next step?
Well, typically they'll interview from there. They'll say,
they will interview after you've interviewed?
After we've interviewed, yes.
Do you pre-qualify?
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And then from there they interview. So we're doing this on a partnership basis. So they have their input, we have ours, and then from there they make the selection to pick whoever they pick.
And they select, and then but that person then becomes your employee. You're paying them.
Right. Right. So then from there we bring them in for all the paperwork, the W-4s, the I-9s, E-Verify, all those things. And then they get paid weekly. We run a weekly payroll, and then we bill the client weekly as well.
And so a client comes with one job, or do they have several, or your clients, you do?
They're a mix.
Okay.
They're a mix, and all are important.
And so some of your clients, you have a large employee base with them?
Yes.
But they have their permanent employees as well?
That's true, yes.
And so how long does somebody stay your employee while they're working at another business?
At a minimum, it'll be 3 months with us. Sometimes some employers, may hire, say they've got the hours, let me go ahead and hire them on. Some don't have the open position on their side as far as in their budgets for their permanent staff. So it's just dependent on a lot of factors.
So how do you serve that business, the client? What is the real service you give them?
The real service is really on the recruitment side of it, because recruiting it's an art that not everybody has. I myself had it probably for a while, but then as I got further into business, I wasn't as good at it anymore. So we have recruiters on staff, and they are the ones that do the interviewing daily and matching the clients.
So the recruiter goes out and looks for people who want to work?
Yes. And they typically come to us via job fair, via job posting, many different avenues.
What are your biggest challenges in recruiting?
Well, biggest challenge is actually, of course, making the right fit, finding people that, they may tell you, oh my gosh, I really need this job, and it serves them for a little while, but in their long-term goal, they have something else in mind, that they didn't make you aware of, and they take off.
I've dealt with a lot of business owners, and one of their chief complaints is they hire people that don't know how to complete a job or do a thorough task. Do you run into that?
I think there's some of that, even, but really it just comes down to training and what is it that you want them to accomplish. I think a lot of times we have in our head, oh, it should be done this way, but if we don't really show the person exactly how we want it done, then yeah, that can happen.
Do you have insight into some of the into other businesses, do you see that maybe they don't have certain things in place that they need to have?
There's a lot of businesses out there, so they're experts at what they do in their processes. So it just depends, and sometimes it's the environment itself that makes it very competitive for that same employee, especially now that unemployment is low. You know, they have a lot of options, you know, and if it's a little bit more money at the next place down the road, I mean, they're going to take it.
So a low unemployment rate is difficult for you.
Yes, it makes it difficult.
And so the advantage you bring to an employer is they can hire through you and really test an employee and get them to fit into the organization.
Right.
And if they have a fit, then they hire them full time. If not, do they return them back to you and get somebody else?
Yes, that can happen as well. So best case scenario is, oh, this was a perfect fit, everybody's happy, and the employee gets hired on. And then the worst case, you know, is it wasn't a good fit, you know, and sometimes they give us a reason, sometimes they don't, you know, but, you know, we just try to help the employee on to the next assignment if we can, and go from there. Or sometimes they find their own.
So you do your job, but the recruit that you're trying to place, do they follow through sometimes?
A lot of times they do, but a lot of times there are those that don't, you know. They just take off without a word, you know, or just don't show up, and no phone call, no anything. So, and that's been since day one when I started in the business.
So can you describe that? That's a challenge, right?
Yes, it's a big challenge.
What is that like?
Well, you know, I take it personally, like I've let my client down because they're counting on that person to get whatever it is they need done, whether it's, you know, a one-day project, 1 week, or whatever that looks like. So, you know, and then on the other side, you know, the employee telling us, oh yes, I really want this job. Because we always tell them, you don't have to say yes. You know, if something doesn't work for you, I'd rather you tell me no and just turn down the job up front. But a lot of people have a hard time with that.
And they get in a situation they're not too comfortable with?
Yeah, or maybe it wasn't what they expected or what they thought, or they thought I can try it and see if I like it, and then they don't, you know, so, you know, but it's just really the communication, you know, because I get that not every job is for everybody, and if they were just to say, you know what, that wasn't for me, I would prefer not to return, but a lot of times they just don't say anything, they just take off.
So on one hand, we're talking about the advantage to your client in using your services. What advantage is there for the recruit in using your services?
Well, they get exposure to different clients, you know, so they may be early in their career and they're not really sure what they want to do. So they can get exposure to different companies or jobs, and they may say, oh, you know, after this assignment, I don't want to do that kind of work anymore. So it just really exposure to doors.
So give me a couple of success stories.
Well, actually, there's quite a few. So one of our success stories is we sent an admin to the Greater Chamber, and she's now the VP.
Really?
Yes, Claudia Rosales.
Yeah, she's been there 17 years or something.
Yeah, we placed her there. I think it's 13 now. So.
Okay, something like that, yeah.
Yes.
And so you work with your mother.
I do.
And she watches over everything?
She does. Yeah, she's kind of in the background now. She kind of lets us take it over, but she just still watches the money.
But you run the business. What is it to run a business?
Well, you've got to have a lot of good people in place doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. And does that happen 100% of the time? No, you know, we're people, and, you know, life gets in the way of work sometimes. But we have flexibility, we have fun. My nephew's in the business as a recruiter. My sister just joined us this year, you know, with her medical billing service, you know, but she works in the building itself.
So you're expanding?
We're expanding, yes.
But you got into your building 2 years ago.
Yes.
So you're buying this building.
We're buying this building,
So
yes.
what does that do for the culture of the business to own the building you're in?
maybe not so much the culture, but for us, it's another asset for the business. It is something that's ours and not that we're leasing, because I look back at all the leasing money that we spent, and it was for somebody to grow their commercial, real estate business.
So you saw that it made sense for you.
Yes, and it was a scary move. It was not anything that we took lightly, because with ownership, then you have the maintenance, you have everything else that you have to take care of. So, but it's definitely the right move.
But you have room for expansion.
Yes, we do.
And you might go into medical billing.
Yes.
Or you are going into it.
We are. Mm-hmm.
Because your sister knows the business.
The business, yes. So.
Well, that's so. As you, 25 years now. You've got it under your belt. You've got the growth under your belt.
No, I would like to grow more, and then just, kind of see, work really hard for the next 10 years and see where that leads us. Hopefully at that point I could be at a point to retire if I, choose to.
Do you have a transition plan in place yet?
I don't, and I think I'm going to have a hard time with it, because my mom, I won't say her age, but she still goes to work every day, and I think that's good for her. To keep interacting with people. And so I thought, well, God, and then my stepdad, he actually worked until he passed, and not that he had to, is because he enjoyed it. He enjoyed the interaction, and so do I. So I say retirement, but I really don't know.
And your daughter, is she interested?
No, she's not interested in the staffing side of the business. I think she is interested just recently in some kind of business, but she doesn't have that defined yet. So,
But she doesn't live here?
She lives in Dallas. But for the first time this year, she said that coming home might be a, possibility. So.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So family business.
Yes.
What's family business like?
It's got its up and downs. You have your family quirks, that you have to deal with in the business sometimes. When it first starting out with my mom and my stepdad, I actually worked with them and lived with them. But thankfully, there was not a lot of friction at all, and we'd work all day in the business, and then we'd go home and we'd talk about the business. But that was okay, because that's what we enjoy talking about.
So what strategies are you developing to grow?
So as I mentioned, we hired the director of operations, Pablo, and so with that, he's an industrial engineer, which you think, well, what does that have to do with business side? But really, if you think about processes that you have in place, it makes all the sense in the world to look at how you're doing things in the most efficient way possible, and it applies to everything.
So did you have processes in place before?
We did, but nothing that we really ever mapped out or
So what's
measured.
the difference now? Oh, you measure now.
Yeah, we measure now.
What do you measure?
We, of course, we've always measured dollars, but so we measure, the time frame it takes to bring people in, the cost to bring the people in, how fast can we get them placed, what's the average retention rates, turnover rates, all those things.
So your relationship with your clients, what is that like?
So with my clients, they actually become friends, a lot of them. So it just helps, like when there's, hiccups, and there's going to be in any business, that you can talk honestly and get past those.
What is an ideal client like?
Ideal client is someone, of course, that pays their bills on time.
Which is what?
Well, net 30.
Net 30.
Yeah, net 30, yeah. Somebody that you have a good working relationship with, somebody that is easy maintenance, not a lot of conflict.
On the contrary, then, you have people that A hard client is somebody that has a lot of drama in the place or something like that?
Yes, definitely, yeah. So.
And employees, they work for you, but do they complain about their employer, where they're working? I mean,
sometimes, yes, and sometimes it's not always a good fit, we this way or that way. So, yeah, so that's the hard part of the business is dealing with issues, because we are dealing with people and good days and bad days, and doing work and not doing work,
See, they say business is fun until you have to deal with people, until you have to hire employees. So you're working the hard side of business. You're working with employees.
Yes.
And so, in that, what is a difficult part of having a business in relation to employees that you see?
Well, I mean, the hard part is when things aren't working out, and how to get past that in the most compassionate way possible, for the situation that's not working out. It's not easy, coming to a staffing company. You have to be open to change, because we can't make any guarantees that things will turn out a certain way. You can give best case scenario, but then you have to prepare them just in case it doesn't work out, what that might look like down the road. So I always ask the recruiters, just kind of let them know up front, because, yes, we're hoping for this great outcome and great success stories, but it doesn't always happen, But
So you're looking for a fit between an employee for an employer.
mm-hmm.
And what is it like when there isn't a fit? Is it because they don't like the job, or they don't like the business, or does it go all over
Personalities,
the place?
it's everything.
Or who they're working for?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a lot of different things.
So if somebody wants a job and doesn't use your service, and they go in, they get a job,
Mm-hmm.
and they have these issues of personalities, what do they do?
Well, I mean, if they don't go through us, well, then they just have to handle them on their own. So.
And if they go through you and they don't like a situation, then they come to you and say, I don't like the situation, and what do you do?
Well, then you have the open dialogue, and then you talk about, what are these things that we can resolve, or is a better place, is there another assignment that might be
So
better
you keep
suited?
working with that person
Oh, definitely.
if they're open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have counselors who really talk about not only the right job, but maybe people don't have the right attitude about work?
Yes, I mean, and that happens too, as far as like and, getting to work on time, being at work, and so there's all those things that we have to do.
What is your business fear right now? Do you have, is there something out there that you have to prepare for? You see a change in the economy, you see a change in the industry.
Well, I guess and not really a fear, but a challenge right now is low unemployment. So then it's everybody vying for the same people. So it's presenting what the opportunities you have in the best light that's there, but being truthful with them also. So, for example, somebody that's already working somewhere as a permanent employee, let's say, I wouldn't recommend they come to a staffing agency unless they say, you know what, I hate that job, I'm going to quit it anyway, because I cannot guarantee an outcome for them. I can give them, this is typically what happens, at this particular client, that they tend to hire, 80% of the people, or whatever that number looks like. But they're taking a chance. So that's why somebody that's already working, a staffing agency really wouldn't be the best place for them.
So you're wanting to grow large steps now.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for you personally? What are your growth challenges?
So the growth challenges is getting more clients. I think there's probably 20 staffing agencies out in El Paso right now, but there's plenty of business for everyone, and it's just keeping your clients happy. Maintaining those relationships, maintaining service levels, so that they continue to use your business.
What is a service level?
So a service level could be, for example, in a call center, answering a certain number of calls in a certain time frame, placements, turnover. So it's really the landscape of turnover is a product a lot of times, especially right now with low unemployment, that's gonna cause more turnover because they have more options to go to. More people, trying to recruit them from different avenues.
So, have you had employees that you've hired for somebody else really cause any major issues? Really problematic? Does that ever happen?
It has happened over the years, every now and then, and sometimes there's just no, depending on what happened, no saving the account, no matter,
Really?
how good the relationship was, so.
So you can hire somebody for a company, and they can hurt the relationship with the client.
Yeah.
So that means you have to be really careful in who you place then.
Yes, you try to get the best
Wow.
possible fit,
Do you stay awake at night thinking about things in the business?
Sometimes if there's issues, I can't say, there's been times where I've lost sleep over, whatever situation. But I try to, I guess not overreact, but there's times where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened,
So what advice would you give somebody in building a business?
In building a business, definitely grow your network. I think your relationships are the number one thing that will make you or break you, or or lack thereof, the relationship, because you're like a commodity otherwise.
Okay, so if you don't have that relationship, they're buying you, not your service as much, right?
A lot of it is the salesperson out in front of them, and how you react when things happen, and or do you just want to push blame off on everybody else, or can I accept accountability for things that happened, some in my control and some not.
You have to have a lot of compassion.
Yes.
And a thick skin.
Very thick skin.
Do
Rejection all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have to live with it. So that's an issue. How did you learn to deal with rejection?
You just keep going out there and doing it, and you get used to it after a while. And most people, I think I've probably had one rude person, because I'm out there making cold calls, especially early on. There was probably one company that was rude to us, but for the most part, people are very nice. They'll let you down easy.
So your biggest contribution to this community is what?
I would say it's in the business mentorship programs that I've been involved with, Hub of Human Innovation, the Ramps, which was led by Terry Chase Hazel and Laura Bosworth. They were are great mentors. So learning alongside them, helping others try to reach their business dreams. And it's funny, in that Ramps course, some of the business ideas that ladies had, they went totally different way and became a mayor of San Eli, or just different things. So
Ramp was a special program.
yes,
but you participate in a lot of programs.
I do.
Why?
I love networking. That's probably my number one passion, is learning people's ideas, businesses, what makes them tick. And I learned that probably from my friend, Sandra Barsina, who, she would always take an interest in what other people were doing and not just let it slide off, remembering them.
Well, we've learned about your business and your business growth and your journey, and we appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
We thank you and I wish you the best in your growth.
Thank you very much.
We thank the viewers for watching and hope you enjoyed this journey with us today. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
That went
very
by
much. That went by very fast.